Hey, this is Dan Straighten coming to you again from Health Unlimited Family Fitness and Aquatic Center in Mount Airy, Maryland. Today I want to talk to you about something I was just seeing on TV. Somebody mentioned, and I think sometimes people get confused about, and that is what BMI is, your body mass index. So a lot of times I think people believe that your BMI is somehow related to your body fat percentage or how fat you are. And in reality, that's not the case. Your BMI is simply a ratio of your weight to your height. And usually in BMI, it's measured as your weight in kilograms over your height in meters squared. So there's a whole lot of different calculators online that you can go plug your numbers into, and it'll tell you what your BMI is. But it does not take into account what that weight is. So if you're very muscular, you're very athletic, sometimes you'll come up in the overweight category because you have a lot of muscle on you that is more dense. It weighs more than fat does for the same amount of space it's taking up in the world. So your BMI might skew a little bit high. So it might say you're overweight, but you may not be. You're just very athletic, have a lot more muscle on you than the average person. So again, it's just a ratio of your weight to your height. Doctors and health professionals use it as a nice starting point, as a nice, simple, easy number to come up with. You can measure lots of people with it very easily, or you can just use a lot of data to come up with these numbers. And it's a first step to look at to determine whether you might be at risk for some other conditions like diabetes, heart disease, high blood pressure, things like that. So if you are overweight, you're going to be more at risk for those conditions. So the doctors might start simply with that number and say, okay, your BMI is a little bit high. Let's look into some other things, either run some other tests, talk to you, meet you, obviously. And if they find out that you're very athletic and very muscular, you exercise a whole lot, and your BMI is going to be a little skewed, a little bit high, then they might not worry as much. If you have a sedentary lifestyle and you've never really exercised, and you have a history of some other things, and you have a high BMI, then you're going to be a little more concerned about that. So again, your BMI is just a ratio of what your weight is to what your height is. Obviously, our height doesn't change a whole lot throughout our lives, so it's back to also kind of measuring what your weight is doing, what is changing over time. But again, so it's a good look at just, again, a first snapshot of where you're at right now. It can be a good starting point. If you can say, okay, my BMI is here now, and over time you can watch it change or set a goal for that. So that's a good thing to do for that, but it is not your body fat percentage at all. Related to that, however, something else you might have in your home that is attempting to measure your body fat is maybe you have a scale that's like a bioelectrical impedance scale. So what you do is you stand on this scale, or maybe you have something where you grab with your two hands and you stand in your bare feet or grab with your bare hands. And what happens with bioelectrical impedance scales is they run a electrical current, a low voltage electrical current through you. And based on the resistance it finds, and based on a lot of research that's been done, it can estimate your body fat percentage for you. So that's one way to use that to kind of track some progress you're making. The problem is it's not that accurate, or at least not that consistently accurate. So BIA, bioelectrical impedance assessment, is very contingent upon how hydrated you are. So if you're in a dehydrated state, that current that runs through your body is going to find a lot more resistance and going to come up with a higher body fat percentage. If you're very, very well hydrated, it's going to run into less resistance and come up with a lower number. So it really depends on your hydration levels. So I think if you're using one of those scales, you really have to make sure that you do it fairly consistently, so you can get a whole lot of readings and you can track more of a trend than just worrying about one exact number on any particular day. So you get a whole lot of readings and watch that trend line. And the other thing you try to do is be very consistent in when you measure yourself on that. So again, maybe first thing in the morning every day, so you're going to be somewhat at the same level of hydration, what you've eaten, what you've drank for that day, so something like that. So again, it's not enormously accurate, but if you do it consistently enough, you might be able to get a good idea of whether you're trending down or trending up. So that's what bioelectrical impedance is, running a current through you to try to get an estimate of what your body fat percentage is. So BMI has nothing to do with that. Height, weight over height. Bioelectrical impedance is somewhat some of the scales used to try to get an estimate of your body fat percentage. So that's just some stuff to throw at you, something to think about, or something to go research online if you want some more information about that. Thanks for watching.